Hello and good day everyone. Welcome to class. In this data analysis certificate course, we're going to be looking at Microsoft Excel, which is one of the major tools of data analysis. So you need to understand Excel because Excel is where you will begin. You will learn how to do your statistical analysis and how to visualize your data through Excel and even some through graph, charts, whatever means you want to use to visualize the data. But it's very, very important to understand how Excel works. Excel is very important. So we start today from the easiest part you can understand, and then we'll start with understanding basic things in Microsoft Excel. So let's start with this. We come here. I believe you can see the screen very well. You come here, this is what they call file. This arrow over here is what they call file. So that's the file tab. Now you see Excel as A, B, C, D. So this arrow over here, this is what they call the column tab. This 1 2 3 in this side here, 1 2 3 5 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. This is the column tab. This is the column tab. And this one up here where we have the A B C D E F G H, this is what they call the row tab. So the way Excel works is Excel is row and column, row and column. So you have row, you have column. You work in row and column when it comes to Excel. Another thing to know in Excel is this point here called the status tab. So it tells you the mode. This is a ready mode. It's ready. It's ready. Generally, then we also have the sheet. Excel is a workbook. So if you did maths in school, I think in primary school, they always give you, not even maths, there's this workbook, right? Then workbook will be where you wrap all your, write all your mathematical stuff like that. Then inside the workbook are different sheets. Or let's take example of a very simple workbook. Any workbook will have different sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So think of Excel as a workbook, maybe for writing different stuff or for drawing diagrams or whatever it is we use it doing in primary school days. So Excel is a workbook that has different sheets. So this is a sheet here called sheet 1. I can open another sheet called sheet 2, open another sheet called sheet 3. So Excel can consist of different sheets, right? And it's inside a workbook. Next thing to know here is the title bar. Now the title bar is at the top here. Excel is a workbook, so it starts with your title book 1. Book 1 is the title you see once you have not saved your first Excel sheet. If you create a new Excel sheet now, Excel workbook now rather, you will see book 2. So if I come over to file and create a new, I'm going to see an empty blank workbook here, and I click on it. It's going to open another one called book 2. Book 2, that's the title, book 2. So I can still go back to the first one, and if I minimize this, the first one is book 1. So understand this Excel as book 1 as the title once you have not saved it. Once you save it, it changes to the name you save it. So another thing to know in Excel here at the beginning for you is if you look at this tab here where you have this A, you can observe that at the top you see A1. A1, that's the name box, A1. So what does that mean? It means that this is on row 1 and column 1. So this A is standing for the row tab, 1 is standing for the column tab. So we have A1. If I move over to the next one, I'm going to have B and 1. So I'm still on the same row, B Row is actually from left to right. Column is actually from top to bottom. For those that did a little bit of mathematics, column is from top to bottom, whereas row is from left to right. So I'm going to have row 1, I'm going to have column 1. So if I move to C, I'm going to have C in the same row and column 1. Then if I decide to go down to a different place, if I decide to go to F here and I touch here, you can see it is written as F in the same row, F is the same row, but 7 in column here. So I have F7, F here, look at this, F here and 7, look at this place here, F7. This is a very important thing to understand about Excel. Very, very important. So I believe you've understood this, but if you don't understand it, let me do a recap. This is the file tab. In the file tab, you can do a lot of things. You can decide to save your work. You can decide to open a new document. You can decide to do a lot more. See it, save your work, open a new document, open your document, you save your work, you can save as a particular thing, then you can print your work, you can share your work, export your work. So this is the basic things you can do under your file tab. You can click new document, open, you can save, get info, you save as, that means you particularly want to save it as a particular name, then you print or you share. Those are the basic things you can do with file tab. Like I said, this is the row A down to, you're starting from A, A, B, C. This is the row. What is the column? Column is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the column. Column is top to bottom. Row is left to right. And Excel, any point you click on Excel, you see that this whole tab, this whole thing from here all down to here is called a sheet area. You can write that down. It's called a sheet area, SHEET, sheet area. So this each area is where you can do your work. So it's more like an intersection between the row and the column. So I believe you've been able to understand this. And if you don't understand, drop some questions in the comments, and I will respond. Alright, so let's move over from here. Let's move into the next thing. We can still see some things to understand. There's what they call zoom. Zoom, you can look at, just come to the bottom here, you see zoom. So zoom, normal percentage is 100% to give you a general zoom view, but you can decide to increase your zoom depending on how you want it. You can increase the zoom in case you want to see it closer, or reduce your zoom to have a smaller look. So you can put it in normal zoom, increase your zoom, or decrease your zoom. I believe you'll be able to understand that. So those are the things we will talk about. Remember, we talk about the status bar also. Status bar is very important. Status bar is here. You can see it's ready to go. All right. So next, now let's look at how we can create our first file in Microsoft Excel. Remember, to create your file, you need to come over to file, then you can now decide to create a blank workbook. So if I do this, if you can remember, I've done book 1 and book 2, so this will be called book 3 by default, book 3. So I can decide to now say I want to save this. So if I want to save it, I'll just click on save. It will now direct me to where I'm going to save. So it's asking me, where do I want to save? Do I want to save it in OneDrive, from Microsoft OneDrive. I don't think I have my internet connected. Or do I want to save it in this PC or any place? So I prefer to click on browse so I can save it within my documents. Then I can choose a document location. This is save it in a local disk here, so I can decide to choose. You see the file part here. You see that under users, digital concept, then under documents. So I can decide to save it here, and call it my Excel, first class in Excel. First class in Excel. First class in Excel, and I save that. So if I do this, observe something at the top here. You can see that it has changed to first class in Excel. And if I want to find that, I can go to file, I can go to open. Once I open, it tells me where I want to open. But nevertheless, you can see that a list of the last things I've done is here. And you could see a list of what I just opened. You see some of them. The last things I did today, this thing I did yesterday is here. So basically, you could also do a browse. You do a browse, then you come to where you have your document, then you check it. You see the name of the document here, my first Excel, my first class in Excel. All right, that's good. And I can close this, and I can go back like this. But imagine that I want to change the name. I come to save as, and I come to browse. So it opens up this thing, my first class in Excel, and I say I want to change it to my very first class in Excel. My very first class in Excel. Very first class in Excel. That has changed to my very first class. You can see my very first class in Excel. So it is very important to know this. All right. So you can still look at file. Then we've talked about save. We talk about save as. We talk about open. Info just gives you general info of what you can still do with your document. So you can decide to protect your document by giving a password to your document if you feel it's necessary. So I can click on Protect Workbook. Then I click on Encrypt with Password. So if I do this and I type whatever I want to use to type as a password, I must make sure I type it 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I press OK and I type it 1, 2, 3, 4 and I press OK. With this, a password is required to open the document. So if I'm doing closing this, I'll just close it this way and save. It will ask me, do I want to save it? I say yes. So if I decide to come down to the file in Excel and I said I want to open, and I want to open my very first class in Excel, it's asking me for a password and I have to provide that password. So I have to go with 1, 2, 3, 4. So once I provide the password, it opens up for me. And if I want to clear up the password, I just go back there and I come to info and I come to this place here, Protect Workbook, and I come to encrypt with password and I just clean it off without doing any other thing. Just backspace, cleaned off, and I press OK. Yes, it removes the password automatically. So we've looked at that. Then we can see print. Print in Excel is very essential when you want to print a document. You click on print, then to select what you have. So from here is accessing the printer. I don't have any printer connected right now, so it's even saying it does not find what to print, and that is true because I'm supposed to select what Excel should print for me. So let me write something. Let me write my class in Excel by, I'm now writing DJT concept. So we can see this now. If I highlight this, I highlight this. So to highlight, you use the enter key, then you move the arrow. So we'll still talk more about that. If I highlight this and I go back to print, I'll write a note on that. When I go back to print, I can see that it's accessing printer, it can't find printer, but it can see what I wrote. So I can now decide to print. I can print on an A4, I can print um, on a portrait or a landscape. So portrait is straightforward, landscape is wider. So I can print on a landscape. So that is basically a few things you need to know about working in Excel. So in the next class, we'll still talk about some more things. So for now, enjoy practicing these little things that I've explained. Thank you.